D-Buds, you beautiful.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be. My name is Marva B. I am the CEO and founder of Black Link Magazine, and this is the Black Link Experience, and we're so excited to have our guest tonight. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here.
And thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. Go ahead and tell the world who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Shaquin Thomas, CEO of Soul to Table Catering. I am a chef, as people like to call it, and I also have a few cookbooks and a line of spices as well. So that's what I do.
So I'm going to tell you what caught my eye. It was the beautiful food. I mean, it just looked pretty, like no one should be eating it, first of all. So I can just imagine how good it is. But I really love your Instagram page, and I really love what you're doing. You know, people love to eat. So it's just a matter of wanting to get you on here, because we do focus on small businesses as well, and get you on here so that people can know who you are, where you're located, and how all that good stuff. So let's just talk about your interests. What interests you? What was your interest, or what inspired you to do what you're doing?
So cooking wasn't, most people say, did you grow up thinking that you were going to be a chef? And it never really dawned on me to start cooking. I started having babies, and I said, these babies got to eat. what we go eat, and I just started cooking, and it happened to be good. I worked in corporate America. You have potlucks, and I'd bring a dish, and they said, oh, this is good. You should probably try to sell us some plates or something. I said, oh, okay, maybe I will. And that's pretty much how it started. So, yeah.
Wow. So for like, some women just do not like to cook. And I know for me, I'm one of those women that just like, oh my God, okay, I got kids and I need to feed them. We're gonna make it. But I'm just like, I'm not the cook. I'd rather clean up than cook. So tell me, you didn't grow up wanting to be a chef, but have you always cooked?
I haven't always cooked either. When I was growing up, I wasn't watching my grandma or my mom in the kitchen. None of that, it was just like when I had a baby, I was like, okay, let me cook this. And I said, okay, that's good. I've always loved to eat. Let's say that. So then when I had to, cook my kids' food, I had to figure out, okay, what goes with what tastes good. So it was like going to the store. Okay, I'll buy garlic, I'll buy onion. Okay, let's mix it up. And that's how I kind of started to like to cook. Because I said, okay, I can mix this stuff and make it taste good. And that's where the liking of it came in.
Yeah,
So,
and that's kind of like my sister. She's a really good cook, but she'll conjure up something, like she'll grab stuff out the cabinet, off the shelves and stuff, and put it together, and it's really good. I'm like, what do you call it? What do you call it?
Right. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So tell me some of your experiences that you've had since you've been in the business. I know that you've grown to be like this big deal, right? So tell me some of the experiences you had as far as being able to cater, and how you got your business out there, because a lot of businesses, people want to grow businesses, or they want to start businesses, and it's not always easy. It's not easy to start a business and keep it going. How did you get from starting it to the point you are now? Because when I look at your Instagram, like, I think you're a big deal. That's me. I think you're a big deal.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, and you're absolutely right. It's not easy to start any type of business, but my business started about 6 years ago. And I guess social media was just kind of like getting, the new wave and everything, learning how to do the hashtags and stuff like that. So that's virtually how I started it. But you have to constantly keep posting and share your business. And, I'll tell any business owner, you have to get out there on foot. You have to go meet people, and, you got to be able to speak, and, you kind of have to be a people person. You got to be able to talk to people. You have to, to say, hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. Let me know, you take samples, that kind of thing. And that's what I did. Like, what happened, my story is kind of unique because, I started cooking and I was doing the catering thing on the side, but I was actually working in corporate America. Mm-hmm. And, while working in corporate America, my father became ill. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And so I started to care for him. And I took a leave of absence. And I was gone for about 10 days. And my job was like, hey, can you come back? And I said, no, nobody's here to take care of my dad. They said, well, if you we love what you're doing, we respect it, but if your dad passes, you're welcome to reapply. We have to move forward with business. So I was like, oh, okay. And my dad passed about 14 days later, and so at that point I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? And one of my friends was like, hey, I know you used to cater, maybe you can sell us a plate or something. So I said, okay. So I took him a plate and we posted it on Facebook, and it went viral in my little small town. People were like, oh, can we get lunch? We want to try lunch. We want to try this. And so I said, okay, let me try to, because I hadn't thought about a business. So I had to start creating menus and try to figure out, okay, let me do photo grid. How do I do this? And so then when people were reaching out to me, I said, okay, let me go to the different businesses. So I was like in a little square. I'd walk to different shops and say, here's samples, try my food. Here's a flyer for next week. I have a catering business, that kind of thing. So you have to build businesses, build relationships with businesses and stuff like that. So yeah, it's work.
You're going to get started. People think that it's about having a whole bunch of money to get started at first, right? Which kind of turns people off from starting their business. Let's talk about that. And then let's talk about how you have to invest in yourself. Like for me, I have the magazine, and it's hard to get people to advertise, it's about advertisements, but they want their business to grow, and so let's talk about how we market ourselves and how important it is to invest in ourselves. So with you having a business for 6 years, you kind of seen the ups and downs and the heartaches of it. Let's talk about that and share it with people so that they know, go ahead and start your business. But these are the things that you have to know that you're going to encounter. Maybe not exactly what we've encountered, but you'll have ups and downs.
Right, definitely. And so, I want to hit on that startup cost thing, because before, I wanted a catering business, but I was like, yeah, I was shied away from it. I was like, I got to it takes money to make money. And it's like, I was forced to, because this is going to hit several topics. I had life insurance on my father, but I chose the cheap kind. I didn't read the fine print. You have to be covered for 2 years before it'll actually cover you. He was 4 months shy of that. So I had spent all my savings to take care of funeral costs. So when I saw that plate, I was at a zero balance. I used what I had in the kitchen and I sold a plate. And like, I started from the bottom, it was zero. Sorry, there was a call came through. It was zero balance. And so I had to really work to make it work. You know what I mean? And it took off. So I said, no, I don't want to fail. I have 3 kids. It's not an option. I have to get out here. If the barbershops want plates at 10 o'clock, I'm going to take the barbershop plates. It's discipline. If you got bills, you got kids, okay, you don't have an option. So it's different. When people have jobs, they have that option. Okay, I got a paycheck coming in. So maybe if the business don't work, I'll fall back on it. But people that may not be working, you'll be more dedicated, because, this is where it's my meat and potatoes. This is all it is. So, you got to be disciplined. And the advertising thing, I mean, Facebook, social media, they only go so far. Word of mouth, you have to make sure you have a viable product, a great product. You sell yourself, because you are the face of your business. Right. You know what I mean? And oftentimes you have a product, but when you meet the face behind the product, people, they're buying you. You know what I mean? Right. I had to learn that.
That's true.
It's true. I was taking pictures of food, but then people are like, what about you? We want to see you. So then I started to take pictures of my life or my, or vacation, because you have to be relatable. Oh, I can relate to her. She's just like me. I want to buy this. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. So you market yourself and your product simultaneously.
These are good points, because it's all true. And it doesn't matter what business that you're trying to create, or whatever business you're trying to start, right? It's all true, because first of all, and I'll just speak a little bit from my experience. It's not about me. This is about you today, but it's all about business, right? And helping, especially our Black people, to know that you can do it. I didn't come from money. I didn't have money. So I said, okay, I had to educate myself. If this is what I want to do, how do I educate myself to get around some of the free things that I could do? If I learned it, right, then I could do it myself. And right. Then when I do, have little money for my business, I take that little money where I just absolutely have to spend the money and spend it there. But I think it's a lot about educating, finding out who your network is, who's your target audience. Like, who are you targeting? I love that you said barbershops. They be in there working all day, can't leave. And it just, how convenient it is for you to pop up and say, hey, got food? Hey.
Yep, absolutely.
And the food is good.
Yep.
Right?
You're right.
But you said something, you said commitment. You have to be committed to that thing. how hard was it to stay committed when the hard times came? Like, right? People who was like, I don't want to play today. I'm not, I'm sure it happened, right?
It did happen, and so when that happens, I mean, like, because I didn't have a job, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I got to keep doing this. I have to grow more. I got to find, okay, maybe the people in the warehouse, maybe they're not my target audience. Let me figure out who else can be my target audience. Let me switch it up. Let me not just make plates with neck bones and fried chicken. Let me put some grilled chicken parmesan, and let's see if that's going to target somebody. And
Smart.
change my hashtag. And I switched it up. And then I had a regular clientele. You know what I mean? And so we
Very
have that
smart.
clientele. We get new customers. We got the customers that order sometimes, but you got to have a constant. It's like the regular clientele is your pay. That's your paycheck. That's my regular paycheck. You know what I mean? So yeah, you have to switch it up. If something's not working, and as an entrepreneur, when something's not working, you have to figure out, okay,
Yeah.
let me make a change. There was a restaurant when I was catering and that kind of thing, selling plates. I became friends with a black restaurant owner, and because I had grown exponentially in such a short time, people would always, like, the business owners here, they would want to take pictures with me in front of their business. Oh, take a picture with Shaquin because her business is booming. It'll bring us business. So, like, I'm just meeting, I mean, the network. I mean, it was just crazy. So I'm meeting all these people, building relationships, stuff like that with this restaurant owner. And I'm like, hey, maybe try these different things. And he was so set on what he wanted to do. And it ended up not working. And he's out of business now. But I said, hey, I know this is your vision, but until you get to your vision, you got to switch it up to your clientele. You're in the middle of a city. You have county workers.
Right.
Switch it up, make a buffet. So the county workers will come in. So you get that in, and then you switch your clientele for not. You have to if you want to stay in business.
You
So yeah.
do. It's so true. You got to think outside the box. You can't stay in this little box, right? And say, I'm just going to do this and I know I'll be successful. But if you want to grow, okay, maybe this little group is bringing you in some money consistently, but how do you grow? Because you can't, I mean, you got to, I think when you start you tell me, this is an open conversation. When you start a business, your whole goal is to grow and continue to grow and get to the next level. And so if I stay in this box and I'm never going outside of this box, how do you grow? You
You
can't.
don't.
You
You
don't.
can't.
You have to network. It's called networking. And you have to be able, like you said, to talk to people. Like, people don't believe it, but I'm introverted. Like, if
Are
I'm
you?
around people and I don't know people, I'm really withdrawn because I don't know. But when it's about my business, then I know what I got to do. And I got to go make this conversation. I got to start this conversation. I got to meet this person. And I have to network because if I don't, it'll be the same thing. What you put in it is what you get out.
So my father, he used to kind of like give to like the homeless and stuff like that. So that's always been embedded in me. And so just the backstory, the day that my father was transitioning, I was catering a wedding for 200 people. I was taking care of my father in house, and I was at home cooking at that time, right? So he's transitioning. I'm in the kitchen whipping up peach cobbler, green beans, brisket, going to the living room, kissing him and saying, "Love you, daddy." This happened, and it took him 4 hours to transition. And so during this time, I did not break down. Like, I had to get it done. That's why I named the business Soul to Table. That's where the name comes from. I feel like he gave his soul, for me to have my dream, because, I never would have stepped out and said, let me do my business. You know what I mean? So I continued the giving aspect. So, like, as I've grown my business or whatever, I decided, you know what, I'm going to give to the police once a month for free. Let me to try to, build that rapport and that kind of thing. And so now this thing, like, it's kind of stuck. So people have gotten to know me and they want to buy from me because, hey, she gives to the veterans for free. She gives to the police officers. We want to buy this from her. You know what I mean? So, you just have to figure out what's your niche and what works. You know what I mean? And so with that, you build these connections and, just doors that I never knew would open have just opened. You know what I mean? And so it's like, hey, Shaquin, can you come and speak at the United Way for giving back to people, but also can you cater it too? So it's like they have a double, one-on-one. So that's how my business has grown. You know what I mean?
You have such a testimony to small business owners or people that are wanting to get into the business because it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I make all this money and do nothing. Like, I have to put the footwork in it. I mean, when you, especially a catering business, that's not easy. You're cooking up for 200 people. What? So that's a lot of work, but it's again, it's commitment, but you have to sometimes you have to give away, right? You have to do the free thing. I find myself doing that a lot, but I help, and you can help me with this because when I had to take my heart out of it, my feelings out of it, because I'm one that serves in my community as well. And at one point I was just giving. I was like, whoa, what are you doing? So it's a fine line, but when you're trying to build your business, there are some things that you're gonna have to say, here, take this so that people can try it, because a lot of stuff is word of mouth.
Right.
That's true.
It is a lot of stuff is word. Most of your stuff is gonna be word of mouth. Like you just have to figure out you just having those conversations. You got to say, who has a good network? Who has a big network? A church lady might have a good network. Hey, let me get this to this church lady because she's going to tell all her friends that it was good. She had the best pie. You're going to have 5 phone calls. Let me get them to buy that pie. You know what I mean? So it takes practice, having those conversations with people that you don't know. Hey, try this. Sometimes you may not get a customer back or whatever, but most times you have to, find that target audience, and you have to be able to change with the times. I mean, with cooking is always something new. There's a new thing. Hey, everybody's eating fried lobster now. Everybody's eating burrito tacos. What we're gonna do new, and it's constantly not the same old thing. Just like it's with the magazine. What's the next big thing? What's the what are people talking about? What stories breaking? It's the same concept. I mean, and yeah, with the pandemic, you got to be creative. Okay, what are we gonna do now?
That's it. How did the pandemic affect you and your business, and how did you overcome that?
It affected me because during that time, people weren't. I mean, well, food, you know, um, that means you're handling something, and
Yep.
it was just kind of iffy because people were like, we don't know if you have COVID or just it was just an
Yeah.
iffy time. So okay, what can we do? So during the pandemic, what I did was that was the time that I took to create the line of seasoning blends. I said, okay, I gotta make some money. What can I do? So I created a line of seasoning blends and I started selling those online. And I published a couple of cookbooks as well because I was like, okay, we gotta do something. Hey, buy the cookbook on Amazon. I was sitting in the house with the kids, because the kids are home,
Yeah.
homeschool, virtual. Yeah, so that's our people. We just have to be
Hustler
innovative.
girl.
Yeah, a hustler. Yeah. So now I got a line of season. Never thought about it, but I said, hey, that'll be something different. And people were just online shopping. So you got to you have to be able to monopolize on things like that. Hey, do you have something that's tangible? Because I'm like, okay, if I'm not cooking, do I have a product I can sell?
Right.
And so I joined all these little network, on Facebook groups and stuff like that. We join these groups. Hey, I have a product to sell, and yeah.
The pandemic was, while it was a horrible thing, it allowed for people to really to tap into their inner selves and say, what am I really capable of doing?
Yeah.
Um, and people found like what they were doing wasn't really what they should have been doing, and now excelling in other things, right? Because you had time to think, and you had time to, and either you were going to make use of that time, or you was just going to let that time go by and still be doing the same thing you was doing, not growing, right?
You're right.
I want to thank you so much for coming and sitting down with Black Link Magazine. Black Link Magazine, we do embrace our culture, but it's not just for Black people. We embrace everybody because everybody matters. With that said, go ahead and tell people how they can reach you, all of your social media contacts, your website, how they can order. Let the world know what you got going on.
So my social media handles, Instagram, Soul to Table Catering, and it's Soul to Table Catering on Facebook as well. My website is soultotablecatering.com. So all Soul to Table Catering. You can find the cookbooks, you can find the spices, and I even have different kinds of products for your kitchen, pot holders, spoon rests, everything you can think of. So yes.
Yeah. So you guys, we here at Black Link Magazine, we support you. We love to eat. And you guys go check out the website and the Instagram. The Instagram is beautiful. The pictures are beautiful. I don't know who takes your pictures, but they're beautiful. So let's go support one another. It's all about supporting one another. It's enough room for us all. It's not a competition. It may be a billion caterers, but guess what? Soul to Table is Soul to Table Catering, right? So we just want everybody to go out and support. She gave you her social media sites. You can catch her in the Black History Month edition, Black Link magazine. And again, Shaquin, if there's anything that we can do to help you, if any advertising needs to come up and you need, let us know. We're here. We'll put it on the website if you let us. And we are here to support one another. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You guys, we're going to get out of here for now. But remember, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless.